Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm just trying to set everything up the way that I wanted to. That way, I don't have to worry about trying to transfer nothing. I hope everybody's doing good. Um, I want some lipstick, so I'm about to need some lipstick. Um, I'm Yellow Star. Um, if you're on my page by this time, you know who I am, at least to a certain extent. You wipe off the camera. Um, I'm recording two different spots. The reason why I am is because I do not want to keep on trying to figure out how to transfer stuff over. Um, I wish it was a way, and it might be a way for me to make it be like, okay, y'all, this stuff is a mess, okay? Uh, I am not like, I do not like electronic, okay, devices. And that's something I'm working on. So, but it is what it is. But I titled my life today the right set of circumstances because I've been following my promptings. And excuse me saying y'all, I want y'all to understand that because I'm channeling, I allow myself to have like pace and I take my time because I want to make sure I'm receiving the proper information when I'm disseminating and sharing anything. I don't just want to be out here just saying stuff. So the during, within my being where I'm at with, what I'm saying. Okay. Um, that's that. But I channeled a message. I want to say it was probably back in May, and it was due to insecurity. It was due to me processing within my being how to better trust myself, how to better still myself within my practices, my rituals, and being consistent enough. 3, 4, 5. I love that. Being consistent enough within showing up, you know, and allowing myself to just feel my way through what I felt like I was supposed to be doing and source and my higher self figuring it out the rest of the way. And they gave me a message, and I think it's so detrimental to share it right now because there's a lot of people out here, y'all, telling us how we supposed to show up, whether or not we're supposed to share at a certain rate, how bright we're supposed to shine. There's still people in this day and age you know, encouraging us um, to not fully be in our being when it comes to our spiritual gifts and when it comes to doing our mission work. And for a lot of us, that requires us to be seen. It requires us to come from behind the camera, get in front of the camera. And even at this moment, when we all know for some of us, a lot more than others, that it's more necessary than not There's a lot of people, however, who are discouraging us in where we are supposed to be at, how we're supposed to be in these spaces. And I just wanted to kind of address that. For me specifically, there was this level of wanting to operate at what I felt was acceptable for me because of my experience, um, because of the circumstances that I wasn't necessarily discerning about when I first started out spiritually. It caused me to hesitate. Hey sis, how you doing, baby? It caused me to hesitate in my approach and how I was when it came to me showing up spiritually, when it came to me doing my practices, and just being, on point, just being myself and doing what I've been told to do. There's a lot of instances where people are wanting us to feel like, oh, you have to get permission, for you to permission from the masses, I'll say that, right? For you to be able to operate within your own divinity. And I do not feel like that's the case. If you are operating within your own divinity, if you are in a space of flow when it comes to your gifts and to disseminating information, to sharing information, because we have such a vast and depth within us, since there's no capacity really within us, since we really don't have, you know, um, we're so infinite, you guys. We are extremely infinite. And when you are infinite to this rate, your source, your higher self is going to instruct you to do some shit that might not make sense to a lot of people. At this point, I do not believe that it's required for us to buckle up or simmer down or care about whether or not we are seen being spiritual to the public eye. That to me is foolery, you know, because there's a lot of people who are out here guiding people wrong. And if I don't show up and if I don't let my people know that it's me, if you can't hear me, if you don't see me, if I'm not showing up, if I'm not doing my lives, if I'm not sharing the information that Source has instructed me to share, then I'm hiding. And my ancestors, my family, okay, um, my foremothers, forefathers, like it's so many people who came before us who were required to hide, who were required to mask what it is that they really, really are out here doing out of fear of being seen. Um, there's like definitely some context that could be added to exactly what it is that I'm speaking of. However, I don't believe that it's necessary for us to ever put ourselves in a predicament to where we aren't following our promptings based out of fear of making somebody be upset about what it is that we are or aren't saying, right? I think it's very important and it's very, very vital to get in the way of what could cause you to be hesitant about really, really showing up full of you, and ready, And the reason why I know a lot of us are ready is because we've been prompted to do these things. You might not normally get online. You know what I mean? You might not normally, want to be seen on camera at all. Like, yo, I don't want to get on here and show my face and do all of this talking and stuff. A lot of the things that I do eventually do share, right, are things that have been burning on me so long, and that they put such a fire under me that I know that it's something that could be beneficial to somebody else. And the reason why it's important for us to show up now at this rate is because when it's beneficial to ourselves, coming into contact with ourselves, coming into contact with ourselves on an external rate, an external level on a constant basis, we find ourselves holding space and supporting each other when we might have not necessarily known that, had someone not shared that we're not the only person who's going through these things, right? Um, One of the things that my higher self said to me, and I'm going to read it because it was so vital upon me going back through what my team has been asking me to do. Um, it was so like it was like a boom, like look at what we told you, look at what you've been doing, and look at how it's effect, the cause and the effect. Look at how it's changed and it's altered the way that you are within your work and how you're doing it and how you're showing up now. But she basically said to me, remember, yes, there are ways to do things proper. Yet, if you operate and function in flow, you flow in your being, like BEIN, they're separate. And because you are you and you're existing on a frequency where, because because you're like you're at home in your center, you're existing at a frequency where the proper set of circumstances will seek you out and guide you in the correct manner. So my understanding, my decoding of that message was, hey, yes, there definitely are rules when it comes to this spirituality thing. And being green behind the ears, being new behind the ears, it could be extremely intimidating. But when you're pure at heart, when you're righteous in your actions, when you are intentional in the way that you show up, there are circumstances where your team comes and they help you, where your higher self comes and literally sometimes takes over your hands, right? And allows for whatever is required in that space to show up. As long as you're staying in the space of, okay, this is how I feel. As long as you're staying in the space of, this is what I'm feeling guided to do. As long as you're not in a position to where you're just doing something because somebody else told you to do it. And this is what you truly feel like you want to do and what you need to do for you from your heart and per what your team done told you to do. It's time for us to check out of caring so much about what other people are telling us and what they're supposedly informing us of, and really, really tune in to what it is that our spirit and our soul is trying to communicate to us. Because if you connected to that space, y'all, I kid you not, there's nothing, and I mean it, like there's nothing that will ever, ever, ever steer you wrong. And this isn't like some hoopla, you know, um, just wanting you to feel like you could just do anything as far as spirituality is concerned. This isn't just to make you feel comfortable out here doing rituals and shit that you ought not be doing. That's a whole other conversation. It's is more so for the people who feel, you know, that they aren't, certified in what it is that they're doing to show up and be on mission. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily require these certifications. Like a lot of people are out here going out of their way to get a piece of paper that's been given to them by a system that dictated and determined a lot of, what we would consider as oppression. And then you trying to free yourself and get to ascension, you don't really consider that these same places is going to give you what it is that's necessary for you to be able to gain access to the places of you that's going to allow you to ascend out of this bullshit. Like they can't be that. It's just, not that it's impossible. I feel like it's definitely, a great thing when we could take, our backgrounds that we've had and build upon them in a spiritual realm and allow ourselves to really operate, with a fullness and understand where we could really use, these tools that we've gained and ascertained to be able to be in these spaces and know that we're in these spaces because of, all of the experience we've had, plus we being instructed, plus we being informed. um I just kind of wanted to just shed light on that. I don't want to really harp on it too much. I feel like there's so much that we're hearing nowadays that's so external from us that it requires us to get still within our being, you know, get quiet within our space. I usually don't have like, my space to myself. I'm with my baby most of the time, and I love that for us. I appreciate and I'm so grateful that I get to be with her and get to not have to worry about sending her to like daycare or wherever, that I may or may not necessarily want her to be. But as soon as I stopped, I'd been kind of like sitting with it, and I heard them say flow. you know? And then I was talking to my friend, and my friend was like, go with the flow. And I got mad because I'm like, but then I processed it and they said it again. Oh, sometimes you just have to feel your way through things so you can end up at the right destination. Because we don't always have all the answers, because you will never have, all of the information. It is necessary for you to be so keyed in, so connected to that inner knowing that whatever it is that you're doing, however it is that you're deciding to show up, you're showing up in a way at a rate that is most beneficial for you and your team, you and your mission, you and what you're supposed to be here doing. Um, I want to give some encouragement today. Um, I want to give some affirmations. I love my Goddess Tarot deck, y'all. It is so beautiful. So is that Harvest? Brazen. Look at that. Brave, be bold and brave with the 1-7. I've been seeing eights all day. Um, um, I wanted to give some encouragements, and I wanted to allow whatever it is that needed to come out to just come out, because I feel like it's better for us a lot of times to just be in a space to where we can receive what it is that's necessary for us to receive when it's necessary for us to receive it. I got messages coming through. How you doing? How beautiful. Um, yes, it's better for us to receive whatever it is for us to receive versus us trying to worry about whether or not, we're safe. If you're a spiritual being, you're safe. You know, if you're a spiritual, warrior, if you out here on mission, if you out here doing what you're supposed to be doing, you are protected. You covered. You know, it's no need for us to continue to operate in fear, to operate in disparages, like thinking that we're not meant to be somewhere, thinking that thinking that we have to continue to hide. We don't have to hide no more. Definitely use discernment. Definitely be in a space to where you are connecting to your team, where you're meditating and you're ensuring that you're connected to what is, here to actually help and assist, that you're not allowing ego to spew and pour out all over the place, wanting to be validated in something just so you could be seen, right? At the same time, you have a mission to do, and if you're not necessarily showing up in your mission to say, you know, um, one of the first cards that came out was grounding. I think it's so, so powerful that came out because that is so vital in our journey, in our spiritual mission, to be in a space where we allow ourselves to ground, be in a space where we allow ourselves to connect to, daughter earth, connect to what it is, our true knowing, and be in a space of clarity. I'm going to read that card first. This card instructs us to protect your magic. Your heart is your own. Your body is your own. Your mind is yours. Your truth and story are your own. Be rooted in your truth. Create healthy boundaries. Your energy is unsteady. Breathe, come into presence, and say out loud, I am here. Trauma, stress, overwhelm, anxiety, fear disconnect you from your body. Grounding keeps you present. When you feel rootless or unsettled, come back to your breath. Meditation and breath work are grounding. Try earthing, connecting to your feet to the soil. Free writing, clapping, stomping, rubbing your hands together are all grounding. She affirms to us, I am firmly planted and deeply rooted. I think that this is extremely magical because a lot of the times when we allow ourselves to be redirected and we allow ourselves to feel like we're not necessarily doing something that we feel like we should be doing or we have a right to be doing because we're new with this. Um, that comes from your ability to really, really trust your knowing and trust where it's coming from. If you're grounded within your being, if you're still within your being, you can hear and feel and sense everything, and you know where it's coming from. The doubt has to be subsided at this point. You have to get rid of the doubt. There's no need to be in a space of doubt anymore. If you're going to doubt it, you might as well go on and pick another side, because how can you trust yourself if you continuing to say, well, I don't know if this is me. I don't know if this is my team talking to me. It sounds like, it doesn't matter who it sounds like. A lot of the shit that we've been seeing when we connected to our team, when we be out here, channeling messages, it may not necessarily be some stuff that we would say anyways. We don't have to fight it anymore, Um, the other card that came up is soul forgiveness. And I think that this card is extremely beautiful, not necessarily just because of the colors, but the message that it provides with it as well. I hope y'all could see this. But it says, who do you need to forgive? Let it go and reclaim yourself. Forgiveness is a gift of freedom for you from you. You can't rush forgiveness. You have to feel it to heal it. Feel the pain, hurt, grief, rage, despair. Take time with your heart. Forgiveness is a higher vibration, frequency than the pain you must allow yourself to feel. Unforgiveness colors your world with lack, mistrust, and resentment. That's the doubting, okay? Um, you start to see everything through victim colored glasses, but forgiveness does not have to include reconciliation. Start with self forgiveness. Say it out loud. I forgive myself with love. She also affirms for us, I forgive and free myself. I forgive and free others. I think that this is extremely powerful because we're in this space where we're operating on, you know, heightened, Chiron, which is our wounded healer, And a lot of the times with the wounded healer, because it happened at such an early stage in our lives, because it happened at such a young age, we never really had the opportunity to address these things at the time that they occurred, So it almost feels like you pulling up buried, wounds, which I actually consider to be treasure at this point, because there's something that you receive on the other side, of that pain. Our pain comes with purpose, y'all, you know, and that's what a lot of us are actually teaching, anyways. We have to really get ourselves in a space of understanding that what we're going through, what we've been through, we went through it and we've gone through it, we're going through it, so we can help and assist somebody else in healing it. When you take the charge on being, a spiritual healer, when you take the charge of being, you know, within your physical body, operating on a spiritual level, connecting to your higher selves and allowing the subconscious to really take over, you are really, really giving away all of the requirements that a lot of our life has really allowed us to be in. We've been in a space where we feel like get back, y'all. We feel like it's revenge. Like, you did this to me, so I'm gonna do this to you. You showed up with this energy, I'm gonna give you this type of energy, because you don't know, we have this whole rah 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 type of energy with a lot of stuff. But when you come out of it and you start really desiring to heal, you start to understand that the forgiveness is really part of you accessing the peace that you really require. Forgiveness is part of you accessing the joy that you might have not been able to really receive beforehand. You know what I mean? The happiness that you might have not known how to access because you were so drenched and enriched with, bitterness towards all of these things that done occurred. And we done been through some shit, y'all. I want to just encourage y'all to be on purpose, be in your purpose on purpose. You get what I'm saying? Allow yourself to truly, truly flow. And you know what that is for you. My flow ain't going to be your flow. Your flow won't be my flow. You know what I mean? But you might have a group of people out there who might be able to say, okay, this is how, Yellow Star did it. I find this to be like helpful to me. But what if you never share it? You know, what if you hide behind what you feel like you have a right to do or not do? What if you waiting for somebody to tell you that you've reached the level to where you ready? You know what I mean? Preparing is you doing your meditation, you taking care of yourself, you showing up for yourself on a regular basis, you breathing into your body, you being intentional about the spaces and things that you in. You know what I mean? Preparing seems like um going back into a lot of those trauma spaces and giving yourself the encouragement, the advice, the support that you may have never received, and you showing up and being what you required back then. You know, that's the preparation that a lot of us have. We already had the training. That's what we going through when we deal with trauma, anyways. You know what I mean? You don't need any prerequisites to get here. You get what I'm saying? The proper set of circumstances will always create themselves because our team is always going to make sure, as long as we doing what we supposed to be doing, we at where we at, our mark, the spot that they've asked us and instructed us to be in is exactly what's needed and what's necessary for us to achieve and ascertain the necessary outcome. Always. I promise y'all. It's never a situation to where you show up and because you showed up but you didn't have all the information, that the information won't be provided to you. Sometimes, y'all, I'm not sure of why I'm saying certain shit, but that's because I'm channeling it. That's what happens with a lot of us. We're channeling information, and if we channeling, we don't have to worry about, you know what I mean? Well, I'm not gonna say that because I still, I'm mindful. I'm in my being. I make sure my team is telling me not to say some shit, then I don't say it. And there's always reasons behind that because there is spiritual privy that comes with, you know, being a channeler, being a reader, being a seer. You do have to be mindful of how you disseminate information. However, don't operate in a space of fear no more, y'all. Show up. Show up and show out. Show up and be yourself. Show up and be brave and be bold about what it is that spirit done told you. Knowing that it is necessary for other people to hear and receive it because they put it in your face so much, because they affirmed it so much through you. I had to wait until now for me to be able to go back over, messages that I received all the way in May. Even though my team's been instructing me to read over this information, it was always meant for me to receive it now because I'm flowing. If I don't have it some days I won't have it. And I'm not on here every single day trying to have something to say. I'm only on here because I feel like while people are out here giving out information, instructing spiritual beings to not be spiritual, but when accepted, to only, be spiritual in certain corrals and certain environments. Um, I feel like take everything with a grain of salt, y'all. You know, Allow yourself to be still within your being, be in a meditative state as much as you can. So you know that whatever's for you is for you, whatever's not for you isn't for you. You know, even when retrieving information, even when researching, even when trying to gain further understanding when it comes to you connecting to different spaces. It's not always necessary for us to be acceptable in the eyesight, and in the minds of other people. That's not our business, y'all. It's not our business. You know what I mean? And if I'm out here, if I'm right here, know that I done protected myself enough for me to be in this space. You know what I mean? And whatever comes my way, because I'm so focused, you know what I mean? I'm so focused on my path. I'm so focused on what it is that I'm calling in. I'm so focused on what it is that I'm doing. There's nothing that's going to distract me from what source is pulling me towards. I don't have to fight it no more. I don't have to be in a space to where I'm trying to convince myself that I'm doing what's right. I feel it in my being, y'all. I feel it in my heart, and my heart pours out all of this information that I consider to be medicine. It's my heart's medicine. You know what I mean? And it could heal, it could help, it could guide, it could interrupt, it could disrupt, anything that's necessary the spirit is trying to call forward. We have to be allowed, at this point to be used as the tools that we are for source to be able to gain access to the souls who still might not necessarily be woke up yet. And if we in a space where we out here hiding, where we out here waiting for somebody to give us permission to say what soul said, what source said, what our higher self is instructing us to say, Like, what are you really doing this for, anyways? You know, why are you doing this in the first place? If something outside of you gets to tell you whether or not you're supposed to be doing something, if something outside of you gets to instruct you on whether or not you have a right to show up and be loud and be proud and be bold, you know, and be you in it, why are you doing this? You know, peace, babe. I love you so much. I was literally just thinking about you and your poetry. But yeah, so that's what I came on here today for. My soul, my higher self instructed me and told me that regardless of what it is that you feel or you don't feel that you have the prerequisites for, that you don't feel that you have the training for, if you are really, really operating from a space of purity, from righteousness, and you allowing yourself to just flow, you will flow into the proper set of circumstances where the right way to do things, the accurate way for things to be done, will seek you out. You know what I mean? I wasn't aware of how to do spiritual baths until I did it the first time. You know what I mean? And as I was doing it, I'm hearing, hey, you might want to get this hyssop. You know, you might want to get this, St. John's wort. You might want to get this eggshell powder. Like, they talking to me. They're instructing me, and however your team communicates with you, your team is going to communicate that to you. But if you in that space to where y'all communicating, where y'all actually in communion with each other, where y'all in harmony with each other, they have access to be able to guide you the way that you got to go. We don't have to be in no space of fear no more. Our team already did that. They did it that way. That's not our way. We get to be in a space of divine feminine. God is God energy. That you can't be timid with that. You can't be like, well, I'm just gonna only say this because I don't want to upset nobody. Sometimes you got to be okay with saying the thing that they might be pissed off if you say this shit. If your team done told you that it's time for you to share this shit, if you being instructed and you being guided to do this shit, and you operating in flow, y'all. Your flow is your flow. Don't allow other people to create banks and canisters to trap you and what it is that you flowing into out of fear and putting you back down a route that you don't work so hard to get out of. We passed that stage, y'all. We passed that stage. You know what I mean? I'm no longer in the space of, okay, should I be online or not online? I'm on a space of, where's my energy at? You know what I mean? Is my energy in the right space to where when I do give this information out, people are going to be able to receive it with the love that they need to receive it with? Big Mama, you got anything specific that you want me to say and share? Am I being in a space where this is my opinion, or is this ego? I'm processing and I'm seeing where I'm at within me. I'm checking in with me. I'm going into meditation with my team. You get what I'm saying? It's a personal conversation at this point before we start disseminating information to our community, to our people. You do have, and all of us should at some point have our people, okay, that we talk to about stuff sometimes, that we get information and we get excited people. We cannot be in a space anymore where we out here feeling like it's wise or it's wisdom, to gatekeep information because everything ain't for the world. Hell, the world is not for the world no more. So if we still spiritual beings, calling ourselves to be spiritual beings, right? And we out here in fear of being seen and in fear of being, singled out, in fear of operating in a space of, righteousness and standing out too much, how are people gonna fucking find us, y'all? How are they gonna find us? How are they gonna see us? How you gonna know that Yellow Star is the person that's here to help you with your emotional trauma? If I don't ever tell you that I'm here to help with emotional trauma, if I don't ever show you how I'm working through emotional trauma, if I'm behind, closed doors thinking, well, you know what? Everybody ain't talking about the Chiron and healing the Chiron right now, like my instructor is doing. I just want to really focus on the 8-8 portal. And I want to, like, you don't have to do what's in. You got to do what you guided to do. You do what your heart is telling you. Our heart right now, and a lot of us, is like, our heart's pouring out to us. Like, this is my desire for us right now. It's my desire for you to let go of this thing. You're gonna have to do this on a bigger scale than what you might have done it before. You're gonna have to sit in front of the camera and actually record yourself going through these processes, because how you get through it, how you discover how you received it. Okay, even in the channeling, even in you basically connecting to your heart space to know that these was the steps that it took. You don't even know because you just been feeling it. You just been getting beat up by the tides and moving and flowing. You don't even know all the time. You know what I mean? So if we in a position to where we allowing ourselves to not be seen, to not be heard, where we not creating, where we not being the artists that we all are, we are all creators. For you to be a god and a goddess, y'all have to understand this, because it's weird to a certain extent that people are using these words, but they not operating in this space. You know, if you're a goddess, you create. What are you making? You know, what is it? What's your work? And how does your work be depicted by what's going on online? How we also caught up in people out here doing and showing themselves, acting, out of their kinds, and not even being in a space of like awareness that this is what they're doing. But you don't even know what yours is, but you out here worried about somebody else that's sharing something because they're a spiritual being. And if they know who you are, they might that's all of this is it's propaganda at this point, y'all. It's like pure propaganda, and what side we end up on it is what side we end up on. It's all determined by you, but if you really, really operating from a space of righteousness and you in your heart chakra and your heart speaking to you at this point, be grateful, and in your gratitude, show up and do your work. I had to come on here, y'all. I've been going through so much and I'm so happy. You have to always, if I can't say nothing or instruct y'all to do nothing or suggest to y'all to do anything, first of all, meditate every fucking night. Okay. And I'm looking at both cameras because I'm recording for YouTube and Instagram. But meditate every night, y'all. I don't care what it is that comes to y'all. I don't care what you hear. I don't care how much information you feel like you aren't receiving. Keep shut up. And while you there, write. Okay? Document. I kid you all not. Like journal right now. I've went through stuff, and before this stuff happened, I done wrote this stuff down. At 3:00 in the morning about what's gonna happen months after the shit, months before it happens. Months. Months. I'm aware this is what I'm doing fully because I'm still figuring this all out, right? I go back to it and I'm like, oh my God. I didn't even realize that I done wrote something about a credit card. Then when I was in Florida, there was an issue about a credit card, and y'all already told me back in May that I don't got to be worried about when this stuff happens with a credit card, because not only am I clear, I'm clear for more credit. How? How, Sway? I'm here like, what? All I can do is go back and be like, first, I've been covered. That's the key. I know my higher self. I might have not understood for, and I was operating in a space that got me to where I needed to be at. That's complicated. We don't gotta have no big old debate. Gotta be a whole bunch of hoop and hollering. You do what you. That's where we at with it. When you don't show up, your space is empty. You know what I mean? You're not helping nobody else get to where they get into by you not doing something. You're not distracting any. Your space goes unoccupied when you don't show up. That's it. You know what I mean? Ashe. Ashe. And that's what matters most. When we're in a space to where you really, really understand that how we what it took to get to where I'm at. is not what it's going to take to get me where I'm going. You know, as my team always lets me know, destination is always evolving. It's always going to be moving to the next spot. It's always going to be something higher. You know what I mean? I'm in a house right now. Okay, what happens when I get my house? You know, if that's the biggest thing that I require right now, what happens once I get there? There's going to be something else that's going to be in place of that. You get what I'm saying? And if you're aware that there's this finish line continue to move, then you understand that this process, this idea of acceptance that I'm going through with myself, this idea of receipt that I'm processing and going through with myself, I don't have to go through this. I just got to be present, able to sit and go back through my entries. And I'm over here with a higher, y'all. I'm learning from my higher self. Okay, I'm learning. I'm like, oh my God, y'all said this when? Oh my God. Like, where was I at that I didn't hear y'all say that, but I wrote it down? I'm over here baffled, y'all. Like, I'm baffled. You know what I mean? We really don't understand. We sitting and we writing during our meditation. We creating our own Bibles for our family to go by, y'all. Them our code house. We don't understand the in out. Like, you can't pay for this. So because I'm doing this right now, my baby gonna be able to say, well, mama did this. And on this day, 8, 9, 20, 23, this is what happened, because she might be the first in our family, but how the hell are we gonna know if you're not writing nothing down? You know, how are we gonna know how you got through it if you're not actually showing, you know what I mean, where you place this energy at? Yeah, you went through all of this, but what did you do with it once you called yourself releasing it? What's the movements you made to get it out of your body so you weren't tense? You know what I mean? How did you forgive yourself in a authentic and holistic way to where you're able to dispel this energy and give it somewhere to live at, so you're not walking around with all of this showing you, still wanting somebody from yesterday to apologize for bumping into you by stepping on your toes? You know what I mean? Like, so we don't have to get offended no more, y'all. If you triggered, deal with your triggers by yourself. A lot of the times, if we allow ourselves to be still enough and we call ourselves getting mad, like, my higher self will let me say what I gotta say for 2 minutes, and she'll be like, why did this affect you the way that it affected you? You know, and as soon as you deal with why you done been affected with something, you realize it's not even the other people. You know what I mean? I heard this man say, y'all be out here wanting everybody to know that y'all spiritual. Y'all need to learn how to shape shift and learn how to go to work and not put all of this stuff on front stream. And I heard all of that. All I heard was the man telling me where I belong. That's what my heart told me. You still have issues that you're dealing with your belonging. You still having issues with trusting yourself, baby. When I was able to deal with that, I was able to sit in it like, okay, yes, definitely. I could feel that. I've been working on that. I could continue to work on that. This wasn't personal to me. And if I actually listened to the whole message that the man had, he had some wisdom to share for sure. You know what I mean? I just came in on the end of it. You get what I'm saying? But it's like when we in a space to where we operating from receiving one thing externally from outside of ourselves, and then we moving on that thing that we receive versus us questioning and going back within to see why this interaction caused friction without actually spelling why my flow got interrupted. You get what I'm saying? Your flow can't get interrupted unless you allow it to, unless you allow yourself to be distracted. We have a responsibility at this point, y'all, to start to really, really create the boundaries necessary for us in our lives, in our relationships. But the only relationship that you really, really need to focus on at the base level right now, if you haven't started anywhere, it's the one with you, because that's the one that you're going to have the biggest problems with. Everybody that you feel like is a problem in your life, everybody that you feel like is an issue to you, that is a nuisance, so to speak, you know what I mean, that's caused you the most trauma, I promise you, if you really, really consider it, okay, if you really, really, really consider where you were at upon each engagement with this person is only agitating the soft spots that you've allowed to go unnoticed all of this time. They're tipping most of the time. And you making them the whole cause of some shit. They're literally the thing that pushes you over edge. But you've had a multitude of things knock on the door of your, comfort. But it's how you treated you. It's how you showed up to you. It's how you listen to you. Our being, our body, our heart tells us that we don't like something, and we'll force ourselves to engage with that very thing that we don't like on a constant basis. But then we want other people to be responsible for whether or not we're in the spaces we supposed to be in. We don't have to do that stuff. You know what I mean? And I know that it's not easy. Nobody said it's easy. That's the illusion of it all. It's just taking accountability and responsibility for how you showed up for you first. How you are responsible for your spiritual gifts and your mission. And how, because a lot of us are required to create new ways of actually showing up in the first place. We're not going to show up the way that everybody else shows up. So it's not going to make sense to a lot of people, a plethora of people. It's not going to make sense to them. It won't. You will have a unique group of people who will seek you out specifically, be that person for them. But if you're so busy trying to hide, waiting for you to be ready, how do you know? How you will never be ready. You will never be ready. Even the people who are out here and they already doing it, they still get nervous, y'all. Some of the biggest names, they still get nervous. They still be like ants. You know what I mean? Some of these people are coaxing themselves to be able to show up and do what they have to do, but they showing up. That's the trick. Flow come from your heart chakra. Still yourself. If you're not sure, but you feel like you're supposed to be sharing something, meditate before you share it. Get some clarity on it. Ask some questions. We could question our team. We could question our higher self. We could gain information. Study what you have. You know what I mean? Until you feel comfortable enough to share it. But don't not share it because people are convincing you that it's important for us to still be in a place of discernment on whether or not it's safe for us to share or be in our spiritual bag. Like, come on. My ancestors didn't hide all of that time for me to be out here hiding. That 400 years of slavery, that's over with. That timeline's gone. It's gone. That's not to say that it ain't nothing like that could possibly hinder. It ain't nothing that won't come up. Yeah, you gonna go through some shit. People gonna fucking try some shit. But I've come to understanding that if I'm so focused on what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing, and everything that I'm doing is all on Jamie Lane, and I'm not focused on no other streets, no other avenues, no boulevards. I'm all right here on my lane. I'm doing where I'm supposed to be on my lane. This is where I'm at. I don't give a fuck what you throw at me. Do it. You come in my lane if you want to. That's how I feel about it. Come in my lane if you want to. This is my space. You know what I mean? And you might not think that I'm equipped or I know what I'm doing. You might not think that I'm really, really, really that protected. Okay? What did these people learn this past week? Fuck around and find out. That's that. It's really, really simple. You know what I mean? But I had some more cards. I might pull some more cards. The other card that I had that I shuffled earlier, it was decision. I love these cards, y'all. They super simple, but you could literally take something as small as one word and you could just grow upon it so much. But this instructs us with like a little message on the back of it, and these are just like little cards with like wisdom on them. And it says sometimes the best decision is no decision at all. And that's some wisdom right there. Maybe that's sort of saying, hey, if you unsure, then be quiet and wait until you are sure. Because we are, when we operating from a space of flow, when we operating from a space of, you doing what you're supposed to be doing. There are no uncertainties. There is no hesitation in that. It's just flow. The other card is happiness. Something that we find within ourselves, not in our exchanges, our interactions with other people. I hope, there we go. I like that. Okay. It says your thinking will either make your happiness or take your happiness. You choose. Choice, decisions, and happiness. I like that. All encompassing and at the same time connected. Worry less about making the right choice and more about being strong enough to handle any outcome. I love that. I'm going to shuffle some more cards. I hope you're doing well, sis. There's so much that's happening right now. And it's like we get to really, we at the bottom, ground zero with this. You know what I mean? There's been people who've been working for 20 plus years. There's, the Bobby Hemmets, the Sister Myras, the so many people, y'all. You know what I mean? So many people who've been out here for years, waiting for a lot of the things that they knew were to come. And all they could do is just trust, and be the eyeball out. Now there's so many people who are considered, spiritualists, connecting to whoever they feel like they may be connected to, right? That the space, the environment is just watered down. The information is even watered down. You got to be really mindful of what it is that you digest. And I've had to be intentional about how I myself to even scroll. They told me don't troll and scroll. That's what my team told me. Like, you literally are sitting here stepping away from your own personal jobs, your own personal tasks, your own personal soul, wanting a break, wanting to check out, for what? For you to connect to some shit that disturbs you and has you in a space of, lack. It's one of my lives is paused right now, and I want to wait until it comes back. Yeah. So it just wants us to be where we need to be at, y'all. It so sucks because it doesn't show. I try to wait. I know I'll get a better. It's a better view. Just the camera is just way better over here on YouTube. And I love it because it's like you'll get on here. And this is why I pull the cards most of the time. Not necessarily to sit and really just read the cards, but I pull the cards for confirmation, because a lot of the times we don't necessarily have, like I said, all the information when we're disseminating, when we're channeling. Sometimes Source wants you to just get up and they'll give you the rest of it. Just get out there and say it. You got to say this shit right now. Don't wait, because then you might not say it tomorrow, and you're not going to always be in that space. But until you get into the position to where you really at where you need to be at, where you're not necessarily in a space of thinking that how you need to show up, why you're showing up, the fact that you're necessary, you won't be in these spaces. You know what I mean? Because you've done it, and Source has proven itself to in real time. That's what's happening with me, y'all. Source is proving itself to me in real time. You know what I mean? Like, do this. Do this. Not necessarily just because it's gonna make you feel good, But do this. You're literally going around creating and accumulating the energy that you need to bring in those manifestations that you've been trying to call in. But when we don't follow our promptings, when we operate from a space of fear, when we operate in a space of not recognizing that there's duality in everything that exists, that is, we have these pockets of opportunities that are paused, these things that literally get put on hold for us because there's steps that we're not wanting to take. Take the steps that your team is instructing you to take. Let somebody else worry about the other shit. It's not your business. I promise it's not your business. It don't got nothing to do with you, y'all. It has nothing to do with you. All this stuff is not our business. It doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? If y'all following a news channel and you're not getting paid by this shit, delete that shit. If y'all out here checking into gossips, and get rid of all of that stuff until you are 100% on point when it comes to you, your team, until you know what it feels like for your team to communicate to you, until you know what it is to your team without having any interferences. Get rid of all the extra shit. Get rid of it. You know, it's time for that. It's time. I love this. You know, it's so beautiful because it's like the consistency in how source always affirms itself with me is really really beautiful. But this is my baby, y'all. I love y'all. I'm happy that y'all allowed me to share space with y'all. um Soon, I'll be back soon. I have more information I would like to share. um but thank y'all.